child. Y'all listen. I don't know if y'all been listening to these episodes for season 5 of the Triggered AF podcast. Now, I'm not just saying this because Danny, we are the hosts, but y'all.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. We got the best podcast in the game. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. It really is the best for this type of podcast where we're talking about healing and triggers and things like that. It's just like we are the creme de la creme, baby.
Listen, this level of healing, and I'm gonna just go ahead and put it out there. Y'all go ahead and DM us, connect us. Our email is hi@triggeredafpodcast.com. Connect us with podcast networks, people who you know, like, hey, this needs to be on a broader scale. I'm a firm believer, closed mouths don't get fed. Don't ask for it, you won't get it. I know some of our listeners are connected to podcast networks. This needs to be, just, on a much, much larger scale.
Global. It needs to be global. It needs to be worldwide.
And technically, we're already global.
It needs to be. We need more. We need more access, more souls that we can touch and hopefully help in the ways that we know how, when we bring these wonderful people on that. Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I'm always still so. What's the word? Like, I'm always still so like moved, and I always feel so grateful that we get to interact and share space with these dynamic, prolific human beings that come on this show to have a conversation with us, even if it's like someone that I've never met before. And then I talk to them and I'm just like, how have I not known you like all my life? Like, that happens a lot on this podcast where we talk to people that neither of us know, and now we're like all friends, or we're just like obsessed with each other on Instagram. And so it's just so beautiful. And I'm so grateful. I just have to say that, because sometimes it has its difficulties. Podcasting, it's not easy, but it is the most worth it career path that I've ever taken in my life.
Yeah. And this conversation today with Sybil, y'all, when I met her, when I tell you, y'all about to be, she had our whole life. Like, I was incensed. It was something that I thought I had literally resolved, like, okay, can't do it. Had just kind of given up a little bit. She's like, oh, no, absolutely not. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
You got it all the way together, child. All the way.
And I was just like, she is the CEO and founder of the Great Girlfriends. And when I tell you, she is another person too who walks the talk. Yes, walks the talk. Y'all, sometimes I think a lot faster than I speak. But no, she truly does walk the talk. And I don't even remember where we met, if it was in New York or if it was in Africa. She will definitely let us know. Hopefully she remembers, because I just know wherever it was up, and it's been stuck ever since. The level of just kindness and brilliance that she holds, I am honored to have her here with us today. I want to welcome you all. Sybil Amuti, how are you?
Hey, y'all.
Welcome to the Triggered AF podcast. We're so excited to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. We're gonna have to share that best podcast spot. Like, I'm gonna take best in category here. Y'all take best in category, and we're gonna say, because I love how you said how we're gonna reach souls and all the souls that we plan to reach for this show, and like the impact. Like, podcasting brings the entire world together, right? Like, in so many ways. And it's so hard sometimes, but like you said, if you don't ask, you don't have. And I love what you said, because I actually have a resource for you, a network resource for you that I'm happy to pass over.
Well,
all you gotta do is say it, right? When you say it, somebody gonna catch it, right?
Listen, I need y'all to, this is why I say I am a firm believer. So my faith system is, I believe in God. And I also believe that God created the universe to work in support of whatever we humans decide. But for too many people, they are unwilling to make a decision and then to say it out loud for fear of, well, I'm embarrassed. Well, what if I'm not good enough, or what, all the things, all the reasons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I said that when we were at, I think, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. At 4 minutes and 44 seconds, you said, hey, you just said that I have a resource for you. I'll connect y'all. Do y'all see how quickly the universe just worked to put that piece that thing together? And if you're listening to this, the tapping is my nails. Don't worry, we're okay.
It's not an extraterrestrial.
I know, right? I miss my nail tap. I got to get back to the nails. I don't have a tap right now. I got like a little nub.
It's my one form of, January has been a little interesting for me. So I said, no, let me go get my nails done to make myself feel a little better.
They're marvelous. I want to tap.
Okay, so thank you for coming. We got to dive right in because we're here for a good time, but not for a long time. So, as Alechia introduced you, you have your titles, and everyone we bring on this show is just so laden with accolades and titles, and we love it. And that's a part of the reason that you're here, because you are accomplished and you have something to share and a story to tell. But a lot of times with these accolades and these titles, it can kind of drown us drown us as to who we really are. So our favorite question is the only question we ask to every guest that we have is, outside of all the accolades and titles and accomplishments, who do you say that you are?
Oh my gosh. I'm like a really dope human. Like
I'm a dope human. Yes.
I'm just a dope human. Like I'm a human. I'm a heartbeat. And I'm a human above and beyond anything else. I'm human. And that allows me to be human to myself and to be human to other people and to seek out ways to spread more humanity. So I spread that over anything else.
Yeah. It's so funny. I remember I was like a teenager when I said this, and I still think it to this day, that I heard an adult at the time say they had messed up somehow. And they said, I'm only human. I'm only human. Of course I did this. And in my head, I was just like, I was like, what do you mean you're only human? You're human. What a privilege and what a joy. You know what I mean? You could have been like a bus or something. You could have been a tree. You could have been, no disrespect to the trees, child. We need the trees.
Right. We need the trees.
I'm not trying to be stuck in one place for 100 years. But it's sometimes we use our humanity as a crutch to mess up, as opposed to using our humanity as an excuse to be great. You are this high functioning being on this planet. Yes, I love it. Because I think being a human is so marvelous. And I don't like that people like to use it as this, oh man, I'm only human, so I get to be a fuck up. No, you're human. Do better.
Right. Well, imagine my reach as a human. Yes. My reach as a human is 8.1 plus billion people that I get to connect with, heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul, skin to skin. My reach is so much more vast when I'm human than when I'm all the categorical things that I've been able to do as a result of being human. So I just like to be human. That allows me to see and respect and honor everyone.
Yeah.
Regardless of anything. Yeah.
And the fact too, which is what I feel not enough, because I don't want to generalize, but not enough people recognize, we were just at 7 billion before the panorama began.
Come on.
There is a constant and incessant expansion. So there is never a need to fight over anything. Just like we said, we're both best in our categories. There's no need to fight, because y'all don't know it yet. The Great Girlfriends also has a podcast that is a game-changing podcast. So after y'all finish this episode, make sure you head on over.
There's room for everyone. It's just there's so much abundance. There's so many humans. I was talking to my husband, and I was like, his company friend group, they're starting a podcast as well. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things that some people tell you when you say you're starting a podcast is, well, everybody's doing it. Everybody, they're so saturated. I'm like, there's no such thing as that's such a mental thing. You know how much water is in the grocery store, how much different brands, how many different brands of bread, how many different fast food chains. If you think like that, you're always gonna not do anything because you're afraid of it being saturated. There are 8 billion people in this world. Nobody is doing everything. It's impossible for everybody to be doing this thing. There's too many of us.
And this is the thing. Everyone's consuming air, but we still need it, right? So there's still a need for the things that we do. And I always, when I work in the brand space and I hear people talk about the saturation, and I won't deny saturation. It might be what it is.
For sure.
What you do has not been done until you do it.
Exactly.
And the reason why is because there's a unique DNA inside of every single one of us. Yeah. Right? There's a chemistry, there's a DNA, a unique makeup that allows for me to communicate something very specific and distinctly different from the way that you would. Yes. And it's needed because my realm of experience, your realm of experience, Alicia's realm of experience, they're all required. Yes. They're all required, right? And it's not done. What I want to do is not done until I do it. What you want to do, if your husband has a podcast and his group has a podcast that they're creating that they want to see done, it ain't done yet because there's not another group of guys or whomever with that DNA. So we have to remember like the importance of our identity and our unique DNA. It permits us to write our script however we see fit and not be bound to the idea that we need to mirror anyone else's. We don't have to mirror anyone else. We get to be unique. Like that is such a, like you said, we get to be human, but we get to be unique humans.
Yeah, that's your superpower. Like who you are is your superpower. So yes.
Podcasting is not a bot space. Every voice is so different. Every sound, every texture, every show, every nuance of shows, the syntax, all the things are so different to the point if they weren't, we wouldn't listen. We wouldn't be podcasters and listen to podcasts, but you know what I mean? So, and like you said, with so many evolving experiences in the world, there's so much more to say and do. Like humanity is ever changing.
Yes.
There's so many things that are new each day and there's new stories that are evolving. And it's up to us as humans to articulate and reach across the aisle to other humans through shows like this
and we've been doing it forever. Like storytelling is like one of the first like pieces of artifacts that they can always find is how humans told stories and how they've been passed on. It's like it's such a privilege to be able to be a storyteller and somebody who's sharing and projecting stories out into the world. Like that's how we stay alive. That's how we create. Like that's a part of a legacy when like people will. This is gonna be in the ethos forever. Like I love that.
Preach it.
It's the best. It's the best thing. So don't ever feel if you are thinking about starting a podcast, don't ever feel like everybody's doing a podcast. You know, everybody is not doing a podcast. The person that's telling you that probably isn't doing a podcast. Okay.
Right. Or they're not doing the thing that they know that they're destined to do because they're too afraid to get caught up in the population of everybody. So you can't listen to people.
And that's my thing. Anybody who isn't doing something and telling me, if I can't look at your life and look at the fruits that you are bearing and say, I may want to bear some fruits that look like this. And you're advising me against going for what I'm feeling in my spirit or in my gut or what I know to be possible. I don't know if that's the advice that you should maybe, listen to, because you can hear people and allow people to get it off their chest and say in your head, thank you for listening, or thank you so much for coming. I'm gonna head on out now.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. We got to get out of the business of having these like frivolous conversations that are so opinion based, but have no real weight or no evidence. Come on.
God. It's like, what are we basing this in? Like,
get out of that.
You feel like you are like worthy to tell me this information? Like with what experience, with what information? Like, did you even do a Google search before you started talking? Like, what's happening? Like, oh my gosh, I have that all the time. And one of the things we had someone on an episode say a long time ago was her father taught her to keep the spit out the bones, keep the meat and spit out the bones.
Yes. Unique. Yes. You know her, I believe.
Unique. Oh, yeah. And I told her I was going to take it with me. And I really do. Like I said, all the time, like people are talking. I'm like, okay, that's a piece of meat. That's a bone. That's a piece of meat.
Right.
That's a bone. Right. And it's like, because we're so used to internalizing, especially when it's people close to us, we just feel like, oh, like they must know because they care about me. And it's like, that's not how knowing works. Like I can care about you no matter what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah. I care, so I'm trying to give what I have with a little information. Yep. You just have to realize that sometimes people mean well, but sometimes meaning well just does not pan out the way we would all like. So
right.
I
And
definitely
it's filtered through their experience. Like they're all, everyone's filtering things through their experience, through their knowledge, through their, their perception of the world. So by the time they get, they take what you say, they consume it. By the time they spit out a response, it's gone through childhood trauma. It's gone through rage. It's gone through rejection, inferiority. It's gone through all of their Rolodex of emotions and triggers. And so by the time they get a word out to you, oftentimes it's a bone, right? You're like, you didn't get it. No meat to spit towards. All you had to say was good luck, girl. Like you didn't even, and that wasn't even sincere. Like you don't even,
Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah. We have to be really intentional. Like who are the people that get to be that close to us? Absolutely. And what role are they supposed to play? Because if all they can do is take it in and spit out bones, I don't need them close by because I'm activating something new or different or fresh, or I'm sustaining something. And I need people that are willing to be that with me
and nourish me me.
Come on.
Some meat. I need to be nourished with some meat because I'm not a dog. My teeth aren't created to break down bone. No, I can't. The marrow won't fill me. It'll leave me wanting still. I need meat. And because I'm not a babe, I can't just survive off of milk. I need meat. I need
nail tap.
I need some meat. But that's a form of like self-love, like acknowledging that everybody should not be able to speak into and over your life. And that if you're going to have people close, of course, sometimes they will, sometimes that will be a bone, but it needs to be that they are giving you some meat, just like you're giving them some meat in a form of reciprocity, them filling your cup, you filling theirs. Yeah. But I do admit, and I will admit, that self-love has become, one of the latest buzz terms. Yeah. And for many of us, like, we don't know, like, what self-love actually looks like in real life. Beyond just like the spa days with the nice the luxury trip with the drinks, but like what does self-love mean to you? Because you literally have been, at least in my experience, like an embodiment of love, and you've been consistent in that from the time I met you. There has never been a time, whether you were behind closed doors or whether you were in front of people, that you went away or went against from love, like just leading in it, being in it. That's why we wanted to have this real love conversation with you. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to you? And then what are some steps that folks can actually take to begin like a true journey to fully understand like what it means to love yourself?
Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much for that. That's real work that I've been putting in. So nail tap for the results. I appreciate it.
Put the work, y'all.
Because I've been putting in the work. But, self-love for me means different things in different seasons. And so I'm Christian. So my principles are typically for the 99.9999% biblically based in how I approach life and my values and how I show up. And so love has so many facets. And not to send anybody to scripture, but if you do know any scriptures about love, 1 Corinthians 13 will talk about the different facets of love. It's patience, it's kind, it doesn't take count of wrongdoing, it's gentle. You know what I mean? It shows up, it's present, it's ever evolving for me. So when I look at self-love, when I first began to take it on as like something that I could accomplish, I didn't even know that I was looking for self-love, but it returned to me in a form of affection that I needed. When I needed it was me 20 years ago going through depression after dealing with sexual assault, going through depression, heavy built with alcohol, attempting suicide, having a like just pretending some music video and the rain is falling and I'm out in the rain crying out like God, right? And it's all rainy and the moon is cast down and like God's speaking, like just give it that depth, because that's what the moment felt like. But this conversation with God where I asked God to help me to love me the way you love me. Since you say you love me, I don't think it's true, right?
Because I'm feeling this.
Take my life. So I'm feeling like none of what you're saying is true. I was like, I don't see any evidence of your love, because I wouldn't feel the way I feel if your love was real. So I said, all right, let me challenge you. if you say that your love is real, then help me to love me the way you love me. That was the
Yeah.
moment statement. And that took me on into a journey of appreciation for all of the vast facets of love that are surrounding me, starting with nature. And I was like, wow, look at the generosity of nature. I didn't even, before that, a tree was a tree, a rock was a rock, sand was sand, sky was sky. It was just what it was. I didn't see it and appreciate it as a gift of generosity. And once I began to go on that journey, what I gave myself in God's love was I gave myself affection. I had never been affectionate towards myself. I was always on a path, on a track, make the great grades, go to college, you know, keep the grades up in college, get into grad school, on the track, get into the career. I was always on the track and I was girl, get it. Are you not dumb? What are you dumb? I was in my head just beating myself up on that track. I wasn't saying you could do this, girl. I'm like, girl, don't you get left behind. Girl, you don't be poor. Girl,
Yeah.
don't be a fool. Yeah, and then when assault hit, I was like, you dummy, how are you gonna let this little dumb Negro come in here? you understand the kind of conversations I was having, and so I was stacking those. But at that stage in my life, I needed to know how to be affectionate and generous towards myself. I didn't even know what that looked like. So God took me into nature to appreciate generosity, to appreciate abundance. And that put me on a quest to want more abundance, want generosity, wanted to be that, wanted to be love. I wanted kindness. I wanted to be kind, and I started experience kindness. I started to look at all the things that are really good and loving in your life. Like, where have you been forgiven? Where have you had grace when you didn't need it? Where have you had, people that were faithful and kind to you? Yeah, you had one person that did something really wrong.
Yeah.
But where have you seen so much? And truth is, in my life, I had never had a man wrong me until then. So I only knew the kindness, love, and generosity of men until then. But when you go through trauma, the whole world starts to look traumatic. And so there's a reframing.
New lens to look through.
Yeah.
So there's a reframing that has to happen where you have to get honest about how good life really is despite the bad things. So that allowed me to allow romantic love back into my life, because I didn't want it for. I was like, I'm single, I'm doing me, I'm just happy to be alive and to not want it or desire a man by my side at any point, right? This is good. However, when I met Kwaku, my husband, I could not deny that he was a mirror of what God's love had been in my life. I was like, I can't deny this dude. Now, either he's the best wolf I've ever met. I met wolves. I know a wolf, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Maybe, and they've never looked like this. So either he's the best wolf or he's the best man. We might have to take a chance on this. I'm gonna have to take a chance on this.
We're gonna see.
The curiosity in me could not let a few months or years or now 20 years pass without knowing, is he really the best man that I could have ever had in my life? Absolutely. And so I fast forward to becoming, a wife. Love is trust. I needed to trust that taking a journey with someone would be what I wanted to be. Love is devotion. I needed to know that we could be loyal to each other in love, like that we could create something that looked real for us.
Yeah.
So self-love became devotion. Girl, can you devote yourself to you? Are you going to change your character every room you get in because you want to fit in? Or are you going to show up as yourself and trust that the right people in the room will come to you? Are you going to be honest and vulnerable in your marriage? Or are you going to be loyal to who you are? Are you going to be honest to who you are? Or are you going to try to put on your facades to protect yourself? So it became all those things. And then fast forward to, just giving you some facets of how it changed. But as I got to grief in 2020, when my dad passed and my world was rocked, I was like, what the heck? 'Cause that is the superhero in my life. I got to that point and I needed tenderness. I said, oh my gosh, I've never been tender to myself. I've been kind. I've been nice to Sybil. I've been polite to her. I've been respectful to her. I've been decent to her. I've never been tender. Like, I've exercised a lot of muscle, but I knew I was a tender little 4-year-old girl And I needed to give myself the space to be tender, to have open wounds and it be okay, not to try to cover them up and try to heal quickly and try, I needed to take the time and space to have tenderness. And then to tell people in my life, I'm very tender right now. I need you to be soft with me. Like, you dealing with the little girl right now. The woman is she rising, but right now the little girl is and I need softness. I need it. So self-love, I think if we relinquish it to one thing, we miss the opportunity to open up different facets of who we need to be at certain times. We luxuriate, right? We do the spa, do the trips.
Love that.
But when you get back from the spa, you got to get in the mirror. You got to be, you got to undress and love her.
Yeah. But it's like, I want to go back to you saying, like, after, at one point you were like, I don't even want to get into another relationship. Like, I've been hurt. I don't want to do it anymore. And I think a lot of people are in that space after heartbreak, after things. And like you say, that trauma happens. And now it's just like, oh, that's just how everybody is. And they always say it's better to have loved and have lost than to never have loved at all. And it's like, I feel like this generation is just like, I'm just not going to love at all. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to do me. I'm going to get this money, and love can have a seat somewhere. And the fear of getting hurt, I feel like, can cause people to be so guarded, and it pushes people away, making it hard to be open to love. So it's like, since you were able to work through that and take those steps, like, what steps can people take, especially young people? Like, I see it so much more nowadays, where people are just like, they get hurt one time and they don't take a licking and keep on ticking. They take a licking and they sit down. And they're like, oh, absolutely not. This is not me. Now I'm a savage. Now I'm for the streets, So it's like, what steps can people take to kind of overcome that fear of getting hurt in order to bask in love and like experience love that is waiting for you on the other side of that fear?
Like what you just heard? Want some more? Make sure you're subscribed for the full access, behind the scenes community view on our Patreon. Or if you love Apple, you can also subscribe there. And you can do so by going to triggeredafpodcast.com. You can use the top banner, or you can go ahead and click those first two buttons to subscribe exactly where you want to.
Continue to share all of our podcasts with your friends, with your family members, and you can continue to watch just 30 minutes on YouTube now. So if you want the full episode, you better subscribe.
We will see you soon as a member of our tribe. We cannot wait to continue these conversations. Bye, Trigger Happy Fam.